Another way to solve a system of equations is using the addition method, sometimes called the addition-elimination method. Now, the steps for this are very important. Make sure that you write your equations with all of the variables lined up. Even line up the equal sign. Then you will multiply one of those equations, or possibly both, so that the coefficients of one appear to be opposites. That way, when you add these equations, one of the variables will cancel out. You solve for the remaining variable, and then you will plug that back into the original. Remember, your answer must always be an ordered pair with both an x and a y value. Here's an example. Everything is lined up. The x terms, the y terms, the equal signs, and the numbers. So just add the like terms straight down. So combine like terms in this vertical format. 3 plus 2 would give me 5x. However, positive and negative 5 are opposite, so they cancel. 3 plus 2 equals 5. Now I solve by dividing, and x is equal to 1. That quick. Remember, though, that the answer is a pair, so the 1 is only half that answer. Now, since we know that x is equal to 1, we can take either of the two equations. Let me take the first one, and we can use what we know to figure out the second coordinate. So I will take the 1 and plug it in place of the x. Then when I solve for y, I must subtract 3, and I get 5y equals 0. So y in this case is equal to 0. My complete answer then would be 1, 0. Now in this second example, I notice that there is nothing that would cancel out, even though the terms are alike. But I notice the 8 and the 4 are very similar. If I think about it, 8 and negative 8 would indeed cancel out. So what must I multiply the second equation by to make that become negative 8x? Well, I can multiply the second equation by a negative 2, simply because I want that to become a negative 8x for the first term. But what I do to one side, I must do to both sides of the equation. So distribute that negative 2 all the way. I will get negative 8x minus 8y equals negative 24. Now the first equation, I'm just going to recopy in the same exact order. Now notice when I add the like terms straight down, combine them, the first terms cancel. This time I end up with negative 13y equals negative 39. When I divide by negative 13, y is equal to 3. But that's only half the answer. That's the y coordinate. Now, since we know that y is equal to 3, we can take one of those first equations. I will just take 4x plus 4y equals 12. And I can substitute the 3 in for the y. I get 4x plus 4 times 3 equals 12. And when I solve, I notice that 4x is going to be 0. X will equal to 0. And that is the second coordinate. So my complete answer is 0, 3.